Hello everyone and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, the Witcher Netflix series hit some controversy over its casting, the series showrunner also quits Twitter, and is Fortnite leading to more divorces? And our main subject this week, The Witcher 3. Can we cause some controversy of our own? Well, we've got all that, and absolutely nothing else, on this week's Grand Pitch Thought-So. Welcome to Grand Pitch Thought-So, the video game to movie fancast podcast, with Dan, Brett, and Dave. This podcast will contain detailed plot points and spoilers about numerous video games and movies, both old and new, so listener discretion is advised. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or wherever you download your podcasts from. And feel free to get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at GPTSPod, and on Facebook at Grand Pitch Thought-So. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 16/2 of Grand Pitch Thought-So. I am your host, as always, Daniel Hewitt, joined by David Adamson.
Me first.
What's going on? I was only off 1 week. I was only off 1 week.
And the sun-kissed Brett Amer.
Yes, hello, whatever.
That's actually what I was writing. That's why it took us so long to get going. I was like, what pun can I come up with?
Sun-kissed.
45 minutes working on one joke.
Hola.
Well, Brett, I'm going to presume that we don't have much for you with regards to housekeeping, but we'll give it a go.
I've got some.
you watching? I believe you were watching German Netflix. Is that right?
Yeah, some German couple had left their Netflix account logged in the villa, so I took advantage of that. Obviously, I watched Bruno.
God. It's a blast from the past, isn't it?
That was good.
Is Bruno German?
Yeah.
You don't have to watch.
He's not really German. He's Austrian, but he does speak German. I know, but it was just there, and I thought, you know, there's a lot of German options on there. You know, I might...
Bruno, Das Boot, The Lives of Others.
Exactly. So I thought, why not watch Bruno? And then I took it as an opportunity to kind of... I'm not sure if you remember the part in Bruno where it's just a big swinging penis.
It doesn't spring to mind.
No? I don't know how. I left it at that bit when I logged out so that when the German couple go back to it,
Excellent.
we get a lovely surprise.
Like, continue watching. Why are we watching it in the first? Oh, God!
But it helped my day a lot.
I'm glad of it. And video games, it must be zero.
No video games. But I mean, obviously I've been back a couple of days, so I've got a few films and stuff in. I watched a film called Hereditary.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw you watch this. So
yeah.
Before you start, I would just want to say, don't spoil it, please.
I'm not going to spoil it, but it's apart from it's just what I said on the Facebook post. It's the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. It's so weird. It's so makes you feel uneasy.
Is it?
But it's brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
It looked excellent. I was meaning to say it in the cinema was out. It's just one of them ones that slips by and you never get a chance.
Yeah.
It's good as well, 'cause I love horrors, you know.
Yeah, it's unlike any other horror you've ever seen.
Is it?
Yeah, it's very, very different. It's a lot more psychological.
I like that as well, because you don't really get that very much anymore, do you? Really, it's all the same kind of.
Yeah, I didn't think it was all that, but I'm not a massive fan of the 70s psychological.
Right.
Probably the more psychological I get is probably like The Thing.
Oh yeah,
It's like there's very much horror, but then there's also the whole thing of like who is it and stuff like that. But like Hereditary and like Rosemary's Baby and stuff like that, it just doesn't. I understand why people really like it, and it's not like it's fine. It's just not my cup of tea.
I understand where you come from as well, because certain parts where you think, what is going on here? Who even thinks this? Like, you know, this doesn't make any sense. But it was by the end of it, and I think probably the most W2F part of the entire thing. It just came together. I was kind of questioning the whole thing until the end. And like,
I think it's one of those things as well. When everyone says it's amazing, and you go in and you're like, it was fine. Like I don't know. I don't remember the last time I was actually like totally. You know what it is? I'll probably say off the top of my head, the last time I had no expectations about a film and was like, whoa, that was really, really, really good, something like John Wick, where I was like, had no expectations. It's Keanu Reeves. Is he even really that good?
Yeah.
And then I was just totally blown away by it.
Yeah.
And obviously there will be more recent ones.
Keanu Reeves is absolutely, he's loved now as well. Keanu
Yeah.
Reeves from that, and I think he did disappear for a while, but he's right back up there.
And I think things like I got kind of getting back into the recent horror things like Insidious and Conjuring. Like I wasn't really into horror at that point, and then I kind of after watching them they would have been late 2000s probably.
Yeah.
Then I kind of started following horror a lot more. But yeah, I think it's always weird. I mean, you could even say like Infinity War, but even then that was hyped up, so it's never going to be. It's weird.
James Wan's kind of horror stuff.
Yeah, James. Yeah, anything with him that he's touched, I'll go and see straight away. Although it's Aquaman next, not horror.
What is that this month?
December.
Oh, right.
December.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I haven't. That's all it is really. I haven't had any game stuff at all, so.
That's fine.
This week I'm going to make an extra special effort.
Oh, wonderful. David?
I went to see The Nun.
As did I.
Hey.
And what did you think, Dad?
No spoilers because it's brand new.
Okay.
I don't mind spoiling things that are a little bit old, but
yeah,
when it's brand new, it's not fair.
Don't spoil it.
I thought it was really, really boring.
I thought it was...
Oh, that's spoiling.
I thought it was pretty terrible.
I was
very disappointed.
I closed my eyes at one point and I went,
Out of fear.
I'm going to disappear. I'm just going to fall asleep.
Yeah. It had a lot of setup where the payout was just terrible.
The cinematography of the exterior of the creepy castle was tremendous. But the minute you were inside, it was clearly like, oh, we've only got 3 rooms, guys, so like don't break anything. Because I've got to redress this room to look like a different room later on. It was just like, and again, we're not spoiling any story stuff, but it was just like they have like they put people in makeup and then later on they would CGI people, and you're like, well, hang on, why are you CGIing that person when in that shot it was a person in makeup, which is way creepier than CGI. And I didn't like Frenchie. I didn't like the injection of humour. I didn't want any of that. I think
it was not funny in the slightest. His little lines like, what? Why?
But people are saying like, oh, it's the funniest Conjuring film. I was like, well, yeah, because you've forced a humorous character in there. You haven't done any, you're not doing anything funny. You've put a humorous character into a horror film and went.
Occasionally, just snaps a little line here and there.
So is that meant to be a good thing? The funniest Conjuring film, like
some people have said, oh yeah, it's the funniest Conjuring film, and that's like a. In the same way that you'll have seen recently, the Halloween reviews have come out, and people are like, "Oh, it's terrifying," but it's also like there are good chunks of it that are like hilarious.
Right.
And some people are like have taken that tact with The Nun. I'm gonna guess it's like people who are desperate to say that they like The Nun and get people to come to their website and stuff.
If I'm watching an all-out horror film, the last thing I want to hear that it's funny. That's the last thing you want from it. If I want to see something funny, I watch a comedy. Possibly even an action film with some comedy into it. But
the only thing worse than it being funny is it being boring.
Yeah,
it was very much in your face as well. Like some of the stuff in the Conjuring or whatever are a bit more subtle. You know, things in the background that can creep you out a bit. But the Nun, like some of the scares and that were very much they would force those CGI kind of bits. It was a bit too much. Like You'd seen it all straight away.
This is the thing; they were just repeating. You could count it in threes when the scares were going to come. It was either on 3, 6, or 9. Every time, the minute the music would disappear, and you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. Every time, I'm telling you now, I tested that 4 times within that film, and it worked every time. It was in threes. I don't know if that's a thing for the 1, 2, 3 against the Holy Trinity. If it was like a meta joke, but I didn't like it. And I just think there was like the bits like when I watch a horror film, especially that's supposed to be ghosts, I don't watch the main character. I watch the background.
Yeah.
And there was a woman in there, and my God, I mean, she must have either loved / hated it. Because I could hear her being like, oh God, no.
Really?
And at one point I was like, I think there's someone crying. And now it could have been there was like voices in the well, it was a castle really, wasn't it? There was voices down the hallway, so it could have just been that I heard. But it genuinely sounded like the person behind me was crying.
Right, okay.
And I was like half asleep.
Could you see these people?
No, they were behind me. I didn't want to turn around and be like, "What are you doing, like? Like, have a go at them."
All I mean is, from the impressions you just made there, they could have been doing something completely different.
You cry, oh god. Some poor woman was attacked during the nun. Scariest thing in that screening.
I feel like they missed the trick though, really. Because it was a film about a demon nun set in a nunnery.
Right.
Set in like Romania, like Transylvania.
And there's there was a line in it, I think it was also in the trailer, where one of the nuns says she dresses like a nun and she walks among us, trying to blend in with us. But they didn't explore that in any way.
Yeah.
There was never kind of like a whole load of nuns and one of them was her, but you couldn't tell. There was never that kind of like she's hidden amongst it. It was all just in your face, obvious scares. There was never that kind of paranoia of, well, which one is she?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that,
because
to me, was really interesting. That line, I thought, oh, that would be great. And when she said that, I thought, that's how it's going to go.
But how many times did she approach a nun that you couldn't see the face of, and you were like, oh, this is it? And then it would slowly, it would be someone else. And you're like...
It never...
So they set that up, and then just bottled it later on.
And that's a great idea. I like that.
Because she kept meeting nuns that she'd never met before, and then it would be like... And you'd be like, oh, that's not the evil nun. Oh, that's not the evil nun. Where's the evil nun?
And then when they go into the basement bit at the end, and it's like, well, all of this weird kind of stuff just forced in there. Oh, here's a little idea we could do. Yeah. Like it's just it's a bit balls.
It was very disappointing because it's the same writer as all the other Conjurings and it. It's the James Wan came onto the set and did some extra shooting, extra scares. He put them in there. Corin Hardy is a good young up and coming director who's done horror before. So and it took. What was probably the scariest thing in Conjuring 2 and just totally threw it away.
Was the actress who played the good nun? She is the sister of Lorraine Warren, right? Is it Lorraine Warren?
Yeah, I think it's Vera Farmiga's niece.
Is it a niece?
It's a niece.
I was like, why have they done that? Why have they cast...
Because my thought was...
I was like, is this going to be her? What was the purpose of casting that person who looks almost exactly like her?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be revealed at the end that, like, she was related in some way. Yeah. That, like, she was, like...
Just none of it, like...
No. They just because some of the scenes, she was identical.
Aye.
Identical, and you were like, this is something. This is definitely...
Some kind of connection.
And there was always the thing in The Conjuring 2 where she'd seen the nun before, that character, Lorraine Warren, so it was like, well, maybe this is her, like, in the past or whatever, I don't know, but...
Yeah.
It was just strange casting, because you're constantly going, well, is that her? What? And it just was nothing.
It's really disappointing to hear this, because this could have been so good. It seems like such a waste.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be...
It didn't scare me at all, and I'm a bit of a coward in the cinema. For horrors, I get scared really easy when you're in the dark room and it sounds brilliant. Yeah. Nah, it wasn't even uneasy.
It wasn't even like a thing of like, when it's like
and
quiet...
I'm not just getting braver.
When it's like quiet, loud noise, obviously you're going to jump. There wasn't even one of them. In fact,
there
was one towards the end, which was just like the cheapest of scares, and I was just like... But again, like I say, if the camera points towards a corridor and it's pitch black, start counting to 3.
Yeah.
I just remembered the way that they... It's hard to say it without spoilers, but
let's just leave it. We'll have a chat about it.
I'll tell you about it at the end because it made me laugh.
You can go home and we'll have a chat for another 5 minutes. Because there is a major thing that I was very angry with, like to the point where I was like, I'm out of here. Like I'm not having this. This is not what I signed up for. But I don't really want to engage with a cinema.
Just come out
go up to a member who's just like the guy who's just I just do the popcorn and be like, I'm unhappy with what this director has done and I want a refund from you. Although I have heard of people doing that. I think someone at the Empire, someone was complaining about Transformers 3 and got a refund.
Incredibly unreasonable people.
Yeah, very unreasonable for Transformers 3. Maybe for the first one.
What you expect?
But for the third one.
It's like eating your whole meal at a restaurant and then asking for a refund.
Yeah. You got to stop halfway through a meal. Yeah.
Listen, not even that, man. Like going to see a film, it's subjective. You need to be prepared to see something you're not going to like.
Yeah, I suppose,
if you ate something that you didn't like, then fair enough. But it's odd.
Unless it's like you're going to see Predator at night and you're paying £17, then I think you might be able to get your refund. Yeah, that's one thing.
Or just not go.
That sounds better. Yeah, because that's another one that's like not getting more. I think it's at 6.5 on IGN, and
I mean the last one didn't do massively good either. Predators was it called? it's such a good concept to work with, such a good character, and people just seem to waste it.
Well, it's weird. I was listening to some people talk about Alien Covenant, and they were talking about when a director goes back, or someone involved in it goes back to the old franchise, how often is it good? Indiana Jones, the Star Wars prequels, the Alien prequels, and then you've got Shane Black going back to Predator.
Yeah.
So it's like every single one they listed was just really, really bad. The only one, I mean, obviously I know John Carpenter was a producer on Halloween, but he's not really properly involved. I think he did some new music, to be honest, for it. I think that's his biggest involvement. But it is strange that people are like, I did this however many years ago, and I think I can do better, or I've got more to say. And then it's like, George Lucas being like, it's about aliens. It's like, you shouldn't have returned to this. you should have brought him back and killed Harrison Ford off or something. Like, this was worse than death.
It's one of those things that when it's a franchise and it's got that much of a following, for me, like, I love Predator, so even though the movie, I'm probably not going to like it, I'm still probably going to see it.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
there'll be parts of it where the Predator comes and I get all goosebumps and go, oh, look at Predator.
Well, to be fair though,
see him slice him
You're
up.
still going to get some enjoyment out of it, even though it's a terrible
but
film.
it's the same with...
It's what I was saying about Justice League last week.
Yeah.
And the elements that are, oh, that's Batman, that's cool.
But even more recent, like, if they announced The Nun 2, and it didn't have, like, the same director, I'd probably go and see it, because it's like, well, there's something definitely there to be done, so let's see if this person can do it.
Yeah, maybe they can say, that was wrong what we did here, let's actually take
Which
control.
is exactly what happened with Annabelle. People hated Annabelle.
Annabelle 1 was pretty bad.
And they gave it to a guy who was his second ever film, and went, do what you want with this. And he came up with Trump.
It was good. The second one, I enjoyed it.
And then that led, so then when The Nun was coming out, they were like, oh, we're definitely going to do The Nun. They give it to another young director, it didn't work out. But then the next one's going to be Conjuring 3, and then maybe they could do The Nun 2 and give it to another young director and see what happens. It's just, it's kind of, it's pot luck, really, when you go to the cinema. Unless even when you get a Spielberg, even then it can still fail.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think I fully agree with, like, if you think you might not like it, wait till it's on DVD, or something like that, or
don't just freeze it out completely. You need to give things a chance to know.
Or wait till you're on a plane or something and it's free.
Just get as many flights as possible until you catch that particular film.
Well, do you want to watch Predator? Let's go to Hawaii for the weekend.
Oh damn it! Not John Predator.
Oh no,
wasted trip.
Oh no, The Nun again.
Let's go.
Any video games?
Or
other movies, in fact?
I did have some that slipped my mind. Oh, I watched a series on Netflix.
Oh boy.
It's not really new, but it's called The Sinner.
Oh, Jessica Biel.
Yes. And it's like a kind of thriller, like a...
She got amnesia or something?
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
It's like trauma brought on an amnesia. But basically at the start, she commits a crime. She kills someone and you know it's her. And then, obviously in normal kind of crime thrillers, you don't kind of know exactly how, if they've done it or not. But from the beginning you know that she's done that. But the whole plot is about what brought her to do that. And the kind of psychological elements of it. And it was pretty good actually. I really enjoyed it. I don't really see thrillers like that often.
Is it a TV show? It was
a TV show, yeah, like eight parts or something.
Oh.
But it's a decent story. It's got
Bill Pullman in it, isn't it?
Casper's dad.
What? Most famous for playing Kappa's dad.
Kappa's dad.
Kappa's dad.
But it's worth watching if you like, crime kind of thriller that develops as it goes, which obviously they all do. But
What's it called again? Sorry.
The Sinner.
The Sinner.
Yeah.
We watched is it Mindhunters? The guys who
that's
invented
good. You like that?
Yeah.
Discovered serial killers.
Yeah.
I thought it was alright. I thought it was dragged out. It
started well, didn't it?
But it's Fincher. They're going to be like, he's going to drag it out as long as he wants to. Like, so scenes that are totally pointless are going to be 20 minutes long, and then you're going to end up having like a 5-minute interview with a serial killer, and you're like, oh, it should have been 20 minutes with a serial killer. That would have been nice. But it was enjoyable.
I've been mainly watching Hell's Kitchen. Just watching Gordon Ramsay just shout at people.
I do love Hell's Kitchen.
It's great.
It's amazing.
I don't even watch the program. I just watch the YouTube clips. That's all I want to watch. That's what I'm shouting. People scream at people's face,
calling people idiot sandwiches and that. And,
Oh, that's my favorite. My favorite is "What are you?"
They always make you feel warm inside in the end, though, don't they? When it all comes together, it's changed his ways like angry old dad. It was ruining the business.
No, this is Hell's Kitchen. It's not even Kitchen Nightmares. This is the reality show where they have the 10 chefs.
Oh, right.
It's
yeah,
the
yeah,
restaurant.
yeah.
Yeah, I prefer Kitchen Nightmares to Hell's Kitchen. To be fair,
I do as well, but I've been getting right in. I used to hate reality shows in general. I hate, especially that kind of thing.
It's still like on ITV2. It's like new series, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
you still do it. It's like
series,
like 15
series
years.
18, I think.
It's normally me go-to like in the morning when I'm working away and I've got free view in the hotel, and that's on like in the mornings before I have to go to work. I put Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares on.
I think
excellent.
He's a great man.
It's like edited for like early morning TV. It's like, what are you doing, you sponge?
He's laughing my head off, spilling my cereal out my mouth.
Sponge.
You flaming sausage, screaming at people.
I felt like I had loads to tell you what I've been doing this week, and I've
It's
all gone.
You've blown it. I think the nun took it out of you.
Yeah.
Oh, she did get you.
I did start playing a game that, I mean, it's not new, but I started Shadow of War up again. I'm almost right at the end.
Is that the first?
No, it's the second one.
Second one.
Shadow of Mordor was the first one, and it's a bit balls, but Lord of the Rings is good, you know. So I'm a bit, but their captain system on it is still insanely good. Like
I got like a weekend trial, like the Rainbow Six one. I got a weekend trial of it, and I played it, and I was like, this is just the same mission over and over and over and over and over. Which again, like like things like Driver and Gran Turismo, like obviously it's the same thing over and over again. But it's when you've got something like Lord of the Rings, I think like something like such an immersive world, you'd think like an RPG would be better rather than just straight up action.
Yeah, and they've got the potential to do a lot more as well. Really, you don't have to do this.
I feel like they've done a lot of Lord of the Rings like video games, but none that have really like tapped into the potential that it has.
it's a bit messy, this one. I mean, the way the story works is like any free roam, you jump from bit to bit, but the cutscenes are so abrupt. Like you can't really understand what the hell's going on.
Ugh.
The gameplay can be really buggy. Mm-hmm. As you go on, you get different like enemies that you can only fight in certain ways, and when they're all in a group together, it's almost impossible.
I was gonna say that was the big thing. If you accidentally come across a camp and there's 20 of them, it's you're either running or it's game over.
Well, I did one yesterday. I was just going to do a camp, kill this guy, this captain in it. And as you go, there's a whole like captain system where there's loads of them, and they're always trying to do something to get themselves promoted, whether it's kill you or do whatever. But you can get randomly ambushed. So I was sneaking into a camp, fighting people because that was the way to draw the captain out. Called my bodyguard because I needed a bit of help. Turns out my bodyguard was betraying us, so he turned against us. So I'm fighting that guy, and then I got ambushed by another captain. So I'm fighting two captains, and by the time that happened, the alarm had been going off so much that the captain I was there to get came for us. And then I'm fighting three of them, and there was nothing I could do. There was so many different enemies, you couldn't keep track of anything. It was way too hard.
It seems strange.
That sounds fun.
Well, from what I was playing, there seems to be no way of getting your health back other than like not being fighting anymore.
You have to drain people.
Oh, that's
the only way you can kind of win is
but it was like
to drain.
A solid like 10 seconds of like draining before
you can get like an execution drain, but you've got to get like say a 10-hit combo, which is impossible when there's a whole load of enemies with big shields, and you've got to either stun them or jump over them and then hit them in the back. And there's enemies with two axes which you can't slice. You've got to stun them or jump over them and then hit them. And there's so many different ways of fighting the enemies that look very similar. You're always going to make a mistake on one, and then your combo's ruined, and then you're never going to get to drain anyone. It was
that was the thing about.
I mean, it might just be my poor ability, but I feel like I'm quite good at it.
I feel like
it's
you
like
don't do
Arkham.
that
It's like
that's what I'm saying,
games,
Arkham,
but it doesn't work as well.
But you can tell because the guy's got electric, and that means you know that you have to go over him, and the guy's got it's
visible
something you have to do the stun.
Yeah.
And then there's another like the big ones you've got to like leap over and hit from behind only. It's like so it sets it all up for you. There's like if a guy's got a gun, you've got to use your grapple. I felt like you say they all look the same. So unless how am I supposed in a crowd of 20? How am I supposed to spot which one's got two axes?
Yeah, I mean, Arkham was kind of it got hard enough.
Even with that was the level for me. Like that's enough for me.
Yeah.
Because I remember those ones when you complete the game, you get those challenges, don't you? And they would send like 70 blokes in, and then they would send a mutant in, and you're like, well, how am I going to get my combo up now?
You had to perfect the whole thing without getting hit or mucking up your combo. It was insane. Like.
It was infuriating because it would always be like
they were good games. Though.
You'd get past the first 3 rounds, and then you get to the 4th round, and you get like punched in the face once, and you're like, and you get like 99,000 rather than 100,000. You're like, I'm not doing it again. In fact, I'm not playing this again. Eject, snap. There you go.
Speaking of, I've seen something about Rocksteady employing people to make a new blockbuster game.
You've ruined his news.
Let's go straight into the news. Guys, you heard of a company called Rocksteady?
Refresh me.
A young woman got lost in the swamp. She has ashen hair and a scar on her face. You kids see anyone like that?
Ain't no lassies here. What am I? You're no lassie. Lassie's got tits.
Yeah, so you're right. Rocksteady are putting up adverts for I think it was like 20 or 30 jobs.
Yeah.
For an undisclosed game, but Rocksteady have the right. Well, Rocksteady have made all of the Batman games, Arkham games, except for Origins. That was done by Warner Brothers Montreal.
Still good.
But
Still a good game.
they're still good. Nothing wrong with it. Mm-hmm. But the big rumor is that Rocksteady are working on a Superman game, not a Batman game.
Yeah, you mentioned last week, didn't you?
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the big rumor.
Well, I wasn't here for that, so
No, I shouldn't
You
have.
listened.
I did listen.
But that's been the rumor since Arkham Knight, and Arkham Knight must have been 2 or 3 years ago. At
Yeah,
least.
for sure.
I think it launched with the PS4 or it was soon after.
Yeah, I mean that fits well. But I mean, from what they're saying as well, what I see on the advertisement said it was a highly anticipated game. So if it's been something that people have been waiting for 3 years, then that would make a lot of sense.
I heard it had a code name of Triple A.
Well, AAA is what they mean when it's a major release. So any Final Fantasy will be AAA. Any Call of Duty will be AAA.
That's all it means.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
just
like an
means
acronym
it means
of
it's a
anything.
major title.
Right.
So yeah, so any sort of like so that the recent Spider-Man that's been released, that would be considered a AAA game. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know why it's called AAA. I presume it stands for something.
Should
It
rate
might
the
not.
system, I suppose. I mean, do they get AA games in that case?
I don't know. I've never heard anyone say anything other than AAA, so I guess not.
I suppose it'd be an insult to be like, oh yeah, this is just a bloody AA game. Like,
Ugh. Spit on this one. It's a Splinter Cell. Ugh, AA.
3 years or nothing.
So that's the first news story, but guys, I've got 8 in total.
What's wrong with
Wow.
what's wrong with Splinter Cell? Like?
Splinter Cell's a bit. It needs to be. No, this is legit. Splinter Cell was working fine, and then someone, I don't know if a company changed or the creative directors changed, but they went a different direction that took it away from the stealth as much and made it try to be more action. They got rid of Michael Ironside as the voice, and they tried to oh yeah, he's not that old. He's only like 40. He's just really grey. It's like, no. He's an old man brought out of retirement.
That was for Conviction. That one they changed.
I think it was
Conviction was pretty good, but you're right. It did have like a bit more action
So
to it.
this is when they removed one of the A's.
Yeah, this is exactly what happened. They removed an A. Was it Blacklist, the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, when you couldn't do the split jump anymore.
That's it. Once that was out, I was gone. Yeah.
That's what Splinter Cell's about.
It was the split jump.
Splinter Cell?
Split jump the game.
I used to call it.
Split jump followed by some sort of distraction that brings someone towards you and they just drop on them. Groin first.
There we go.
There
Over and over again.
there was that big machine gun thing that he had, which was absolutely useless, wasn't it? But you could fire bean bags from it instead. He had a massive rifle and he was just firing bean bags at everybody.
Yeah, Splinter Cell's is a shame.
I liked it.
I hope they bring it back to.
Are we going to do that in an episode?
Well,
It's on the list.
it's on.
Have you seen the list?
I've seen the list. I thought you'd seen the list.
What the hell is this?
So there's a film in progress. So if we get something updated about that, then it will bring it forward. If not, it'll just stay on the list of. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mixing it up. Because at the minute we're kind of all over the place. So I'm going to try and pull in some. We've been doing a lot of retro games, so try and pull in some newer games. I think the newest game we'll be doing is Witcher 3.
Yeah.
So.
That's today.
Oh no! I'm prepared for something else. I'm prepared for Splinter Cell. So let's move on to our second of 8. Again, super quick. 8.
Oh God!
But this one is
It's a
just.
good job we didn't have much housekeeping to talk about. Isn't it?
This one's
It's a
just.
good job I keep
so
interrupting
six-
him every time he tries
So
to do it.
6 Sonic the Hedgehog stories and a Witcher story, yeah?
That's right.
Oh, you're not going to talk about flipping Henry Cavill again, are you?
So,
Oh, he is, isn't he?
Shadow of the Tomb Raider's out this weekend.
Oh,
this Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
Any interest in it?
Yes. I
thought
played
it was
the
already out.
other 2 Origin ones. They were decent.
I think it's out either tomorrow or Friday. It's getting all 9s and 8s out of 10.
All right, cool.
I really enjoyed. It was called just Tomb Raider. Then was it Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Yeah, I can't remember that.
I really enjoyed them. Again, it's difficult because it's like if I'm going to buy a game full price, I'm probably going to go for the Spider-Man game.
I think I'd wait for the Tomb Raider, but I'll get it when it goes down. Probably.
Yeah. Hopefully in that 12 days of Christmas.
In the last one, the Rise, I don't really like the action that much. I know they put a lot of work into it, but I'm not really that bothered. It's those little you could do side tombs and stuff. They were great.
Yeah.
Some of them. Do you remember the one in the Rise of the Tomb Raider where there was like I think it was a glacial waterfall that had frozen like a boat into it.
It rings a bell.
And you could traverse this boat that was like a massive kind of old style pirate ship galleon thing, like on its side, hanging in a frozen waterfall. I think it was something like that. Where you could traverse up that. It was amazing. Cool. It was so cool.
And then if you completed the game, you got to go to Croft Manor. And
did you?
Got like I
did finish it.
Oh, wait,
I think.
Get yourself back. Give us a review next week.
Was he still in the freezer?
That's right.
Poor old lad.
No, I think the butler. There was no. There was a. I think there was a butler.
He was kind of old back in 1982.
No, I don't think it's the same guy.
He's been there for 25 years.
I think it's just a guy who gives you the key and that's it. You leave and that's it. He's
cryogenics, isn't it? He's been in the freezer.
Shaking his tray.
That was mad. That.
That
was like.
Didn't he? He's a fart.
Shaking and farting.
That was the original like survival horror game when I was little. Running away from the butler and trying to get him in the freezer. It was really scary.
Yeah, it was mad that we're talking about it and it's just like now if that happened you'd be like, what's this?
Why is this guy following us?
Why are you looking in the freezer? Go on.
Yeah, they should put up like a whole effectively like a school. School gym stuff, like the pommel vault and stuff like that, and the thing that you jump on and then you bounce over things, like in the middle of the mansion.
I'd be like, what is that doing there?
The crazy rich people.
Now you'd be like, remove that, put it there, level editor.
Another super quick one, the Spider-Man game that I spoke about that was released last week is so far the fastest selling game of the year.
Doesn't surprise us.
And it looks like it's...
it looks wicked.
It does look good.
I haven't got a PS4. A friend of mine said he's going to give us his PS4 when he buys a Pro. I'm buzzing so I can play that. And God of War 4. And Last of Us finally.
Yes. Happy days.
I've just remembered John has a PS4 so I can get it if I want to.
You can, of course.
I keep forgetting that.
Well, seeing as going to the cinema would put you into a negative balance, I don't think a £60 game's going to happen anytime soon.
Not right now.
Just be on holiday then.
Next week.
That's right. You're terrible with money.
Next week.
Guys, how about this for a hot story?
That sounds good.
Fortnite. We know about Fortnite, right? I don't play it. I don't know. But I know what it is. But apparently, it's been named in 5% of the divorce proceedings last year as a reason why people want to divorce their partners.
I saw this. I hate it. It's such bollocks.
It depends what you like. I mean, you can take that as you like, though. The connection could be the kind of people who play Fortnite a lot, or the kind of people who are going to get divorced at some point.
Yeah, okay. And you know what? I would agree with that. I think if you've got
the way this article was going on was as if Fortnite's they were saying game addiction, which Fortnite's not the first game that people have been obsessed with.
It's just a what do you call it? It's just a clickbait. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I suppose if you're a fully grown human male and you're playing Fortnite rather than spending time with your lady lover, something wrong with you.
That's your problem.
You play Fortnite, right?
No, I don't actually. I played it when it first came out and thought, nah, balls.
All stuff like that just doesn't interest me.
I mean, I've seen a million sort of Facebook, YouTube videos of it, and I thought that is not for me.
Is it just a
running around? Same thing over and over again for me.
Yeah.
Is it just a 3D shooter?
It's a battle royale 3D shooter thing.
Yeah, 100 people get dropped on an island. Last man.
I'm pretty sure there was. Do you know in a Half-Life 2 you got the orange box, and then there was a game you got with that. An online game which was very similar and looked so much more fun than Fortnite did, and that was like 15 years ago. Yeah, it was almost exactly the same thing, like the cartoony kind of style battle royale, and it looked a lot more fun.
So Fortnite's the cartoony one, and then that is it PUBG?
PUBG.
Is that one that's
Battlegrounds.
more realistic? Player Unknown Battlegrounds.
Player Unknown Battlegrounds. I always say it wrong.
Was that just a? Was that just another one that was just like it just dropped and people were just attached to it?
That was our first, and it was like a more realistic kind of almost Grand Theft Auto style graphics.
All right, okay.
And then Fortnite followed and kind of took all of its steam.
Fair enough. And again, so we've got 3 left.
Cool.
Sorry, 4 left. Sorry, my bad. Another one that's kind of not really for us because it's not really to do with video games, but announced. You might have seen this before you came over. Henry Cavill is no longer going to be Superman.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say he was no longer with The Witcher. There, I was like,
no. So apparently the rumor is that the rest of the Justice League are going to stay in place, but Matt Reeves will cast someone else as Batman in the new Batman film.
Wow.
And then when they come back,
as much as I think he's boring and stupid and rubbish, it's a bit of a shame that because Superman is a bit plain Jane boring and rubbish.
Did you see Batman as well? Did you just say
Batman's going to be replaced as well? Yeah, apparently Jake Gyllenhaal's the hot favourite for it.
Oh.
I do think
disaster,
everything we've said about Henry Cavill, I think he hasn't been given the best material to work with. To be fair, it's not really his fault.
He was a good Superman, to be fair.
I thought he was absolutely fine. I think the other stuff that he's done, he hasn't been great in. Yeah. I think as Superman, I think he was fine. I think he was at his best in Justice League because he was allowed to have a sense of humour for the 12 minutes he was in it. Yeah. So they started to correct it, and now apparently the whole thing was
he's had enough.
They couldn't agree how to do a cameo in the new Shazam film, whether it was conflicting schedules or whether it was money. They couldn't come to an agreement, and for that reason, Warner Brothers just went, "Well, you're out then."
I heard it was something to do with schedules.
Yeah,
probably because of The Witch, I think.
But we'll see. Again, it could all be untrue.
They might be still salty about the whole mustache Mission Impossible thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's
first you grow a mustache,
now
you get another job.
Who do you think you are, an actor? Get out of my office. So again, not strictly for us, but obviously it's a little bit linked to the Witcher. We've already gone over this before, but Dave Bautista's out pushing his new movie final score about a Die Hard set in is it the West Ham's London Stadium?
Ham, right?
Yep. So it's Die Hard in London Stadium, starring Dave Bautista in the Bruce Willis role, Pierce Brosnan in the Alan Rickman role, and then I think Ray Stevenson is also running around in there as like a henchman.
Is it the new West Ham Stadium, the Olympic one? Because it's
I don't know.
Or the old.
Oh no, it's a 35,000, so it must be Upton Park.
Upton Park, is that what it's called?
Yeah. So I'm sure it's at 30. I'm sure the thing is like 35,000.
The risk of upsetting listeners, it's an absolute dump Upton Park, like. Dump.
I'm gonna have to cut. I'm gonna have to cut.
I'm gonna keep saying dump.
Well, that's not gonna help me.
Dump.
So yeah, so
it's a dump, Dan.
I heard you the 12th time. So he's out, obviously doing the press for that, and he's again pushing for the Marcus Phoenix role in a Gears of War movie.
That sounds good.
He's been begging for it for years, and every time anyone asks him about it, he says he still wants it.
It's all giddy.
Yeah. So again, it was just a flippant remark, but just another little update that Gears of War apparently is getting written, so we don't know.
I'm excited for that. I think it would make a good movie.
Yeah. Same.
We've discussed it, haven't we?
Same. But then again, track record wise, until like everything we're talking about ever, it's very possibly not.
Until people start hiring us to make video game movies, they're all going to be terrible. Yeah. I'm fairly sure.
I've got no faith in us. Like,
they give us like Metal Gear Solid. We're like, can we start something a little bit smaller than Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4. What?
Can I have Pac-Man?
Yeah, we somehow mess up Cubert. Frogger. It was so simple, boys. You just had to get across the road. So the big news for us is about The Witcher again. You've seen about this. That they are pushing for a black, Asian, or an ethnic minority to play Ciri in the Witcher Netflix series, and they're looking at around the age of 16 to 15. Obviously, this has caused big big ruckus.
I can't
on the
believe
internet.
the deal that's been made out of this. It's so why are you that? Is anybody that bothered?
Well, as we've known when we do our fan casts, we do joke like that someone's got the wrong hair color. But to be fair, if you want to be accurate, that's one thing. They're not defined by their skin color.
Yeah.
Whereas you would have to change Batman's kind of, if Batman was black, I think there would be a slight difference to how he went about himself, because you could pull in like the history and all that stuff. Whereas like if a character who is effectively just a really strong warrior, well, why couldn't they be black?
The thing that annoyed me about it is that like if these people can't look past this particular character's skin color, then who cares what your interests are about this? Yeah. I don't care. I couldn't care less.
I mean, and again, we're talking about the third-rate kind of character in this TV show, but I'm thinking about they're talking about having a black Bond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like there's no outcry really about that.
I think there was. They actually got past it relatively easily.
Well, don't forget, also there was the female Doctor Who. People kicked off about that, and then it went silent immediately.
Yeah.
And yet this has somehow rumbled on for longer than that.
I mean, you're right. Who cares about
exactly
people with that opinion at all?
Especially because we're not talking about Earth. We're talking about
they've said. They've said that they're aiming to cast.
Yeah.
Why have they decided that?
Well, no, that's another thing. Because obviously,
just curious, like it doesn't bother us at all.
Because
I'm just wondering.
I think
is it some kind of creative?
I thought they had somebody in mind. To be honest,
no. This is a open casting call.
Really?
So they're letting people. So it could be a complete nobody.
Oh, okay.
Siri's Garrett's daughter.
I think it's adoptive daughter. So I think she could be anything.
She's got white hair like him.
But I think they're both
only
witch.
two white
I think
hair.
they're both witches. But I think it's an adoptive daughter. I could be wrong.
They're both
Is
the
she not
same
something to do
race.
with Yennefer as well? Though?
I could be wrong. It says here that she's a. No, I don't have anything about her being the daughter of Geralt. But they could do that.
Sure, she is.
It would kind of mix. Well, yeah, she's supposed to be 22 in the game, so it's possible. Well, if she was going to be.
You checking?
But even if she was going to be Henry Cavill's daughter in it, you could still play a mixed race and just say, well, the mother was whatever.
To be fair, you could change it and make it an adopted daughter, and it would make no difference.
Well, of course,
She might already be. Who knows?
I still can't understand to this day that why people even pay attention to these people. Like these are the people that will vote with your dollars, cancel your Netflix subscription the minute it comes online, and don't watch it. If you don't do that, they're gonna with whatever, no matter what it is, if the correlation was they cast Idris Elba at Bond and then Bond came out and it made 50 million whilst Daniel Craig was making $1 billion, then maybe we can discuss, we've totally misjudged our fan base. They're white racists. But this is a Netflix TV show. Netflix have already got your money. There's nothing you can really do about it. It's not going to affect the story. We're not talking about Earth. We're not talking about the history of slavery or anything like that. We're talking about just, this is a make-believe world. Now, of course, famously, medieval worlds tend to be English. So even that's, you could say that's racist.
Fantasy,
stereotypes
though,
that
fantasy,
most fantasies are set, people always, they talk like this. And stuff like that. That tends to happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's no reason why you can't do that.
I think The Witch is a bit of a change from that as well, though. You've got a lot of American accents in there. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a change from most fantasy kind of things. It's not Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings where it is majorly that.
And again, I just think
Is there American accents in it? I thought it was all kind of.
Well, I think it's kind of
it's
all over. I think it's all over the place. It's not like English. I think it's like it's.
Geralt's American, isn't
he? Is he? Mm-hmm. Well, his accent's American.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
I just think it's one of those things where it's just.
There's an island you go, Skellige, isn't it? And they're all Irish on there. You not got that far?
Nah, I mustn't have done.
I love that island. It's great.
As far as I've got, I think
basically
I've just got to Skellige. Isn't Skellige in Ireland? What? Isn't there a place called Skellige in Ireland? Oh, maybe Scotland.
Not sure.
I think there is Scotland, yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's Scotland. But if anyone's still interested, it said the daughter of Pavetta and Emir var Emrys, or whatever he's called.
Oh, so she's the daughter of the king.
Of the king.
Really?
And,
so Geralt is.
So
yeah,
Geralt's
she's the sole princess of Sintra.
No way.
But then I think Geralt lifted the curse and basically adopted her.
I've played The Witcher in too many installments.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard
Yeah.
for us to remember everything.
I played it hardcore for like a month and then stopped playing it to play
Yeah.
Hitman, and then I literally have not been able to get back into it. It's quite
I
disappointing.
played for a little bits here and there, but it's excellent. Like,
Oh yeah, I just think it's one of those things where it's like, if it doesn't define the character, if it's not like if Black Panther was played by Tom Hanks, maybe we'll have to have a conversation.
Yeah,
about that.
exactly,
Like,
yeah.
that might be the wrong move, guys. but at the same time, I would like to see that film. Then Tom Hanks like Wakanda forever.
I was thinking exactly that. I would love to see that. He's so likeable.
Yeah, I guess that's actually maybe the racists are right. But I just think it's like it's just
so the
totally.
verdict on that is who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said in my Instagram post, social media is its own worst enemy, and I just think that's why it doesn't interest me. That's why I'm not really on Facebook. I don't get involved. I don't want to hear what people have got to say, and people are putting millions and millions of pounds into stuff, and they're listening to like 100 angry people.
It's not a good representation of the general public either.
Of course,
the people who are
exactly.
the ones who feel strongly enough to comment on,
Yeah.
as if anyone cares what they think.
Well, exactly. I think
Onto
most
the
people are
normal
clever enough
people of it.
to know that it will blow over. I'm just going to sit here and drink my tea until this all blows over. You know.
Look forward to The Witcher.
Well, it's the same as everything. You know, it's like when you work in a call center. It's like, well, people are ringing up to be like, "Oh, you're doing a great job." They're calling up to complain. So people only ever act out when they're complaining.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm sure that people obviously do go online and say, "Oh, this is great," but
I'm pretty sure these people will know this. The producers will know exactly what they're doing.
Of course they do. But this leads us on to our second story because unfortunately, it's actually led to the showrunner leaving Twitter.
Right. Because of the pressure that he received.
Sick of the
showrunner.
abuse. Yeah. So the showrunner, who was, I think she's writing a few episodes. She might be directing a couple as well. But she's overall, she's watching
She's
it.
given up.
She's quit Twitter.
She's quit Twitter.
Yeah.
All right.
Over the abuse that she's received from
Yeah.
people.
I mean, it's it probably won't affect the thing, but it's sad that it would have to get to that point.
Yeah, it's also a thing of like, I do have the tact of just like, I don't think by quitting Twitter you are making a statement against those people, and then those people are still, they're not gonna just like, they'll just sit there and wait for you to come back and then give you abuse again. Yeah. So for me, I would just be like, well, I'm just not gonna look at the Twitter feed.
Just gonna reply.
Like that's the thing I always find. Like I look at Twitter to see like to look for something. So for argument's sake, for football fantasy, I might follow someone and try and get some hints from them. I'm not like looking for someone to give me if someone give me abuse, I'd be like, well, I'm not going to look at that. Yeah. I just skip past it. I know obviously it might be difficult if you've got 1,000 there and you're looking for your hints.
It's a little bit hard to miss, but also at the same time, like you say, don't like search for #WitcherGate.
Yeah. Just don't look for it. Just if you've got something to post, just post it and then shut the app.
Yeah.
Put the photo up and get rid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have a bath.
I just think it's this. So what is it? It's white man problems. That's what it is.
First world problems.
And that's it. That's our 8.
Cool. That one actually over quicker than I thought it would, to be honest, for 8.
Well, some of them were just super small. It was just like tidbits.
Right.
But I just wanted
found
to
one for you, Dan.
Oh.
Every week you say, have you guys got any news? And we always go, no.
Well, I've used mine, even though you had it already.
Just got in there first.
Dave's like, Rocksteady are looking for jobs. Oh, no, hang on.
Alan Wake's being turned into a TV show. Did you see that?
Fantastic.
Did you see that?
Wow.
From the writer of Legion, Peter Calloway. And that's all I wrote down. Just for you, Dan.
Legion.
Legion's meant to have been really good as well.
It's a TV show, isn't it?
Yeah, not the film.
Marvel series.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's Dan Stevens, isn't it? Doesn't he play Charles Xavier's son or something?
Yeah.
And he can't control his powers. Oh, that's like the early series, early episodes.
I think it's only on the second series or something now. It hasn't been going very long.
I just stopped watching it because I couldn't. I don't have the Sky anymore, to be honest.
No.
So I stopped watching it.
But that sounds good, doesn't it? Alan Wake I didn't get through the whole game because I tried it. I put it on like realistic or something, and then got really annoyed by it.
Do you know who wrote Alan Wake, the original?
Go on then.
Sam Lake, who wrote Max Payne. Anything that puts money in that man's coffers, I'm all for.
Nice one.
But yeah, I mean, I like Alan Wake's on our list, so keep your eyes peeled if it gets. I mean, it probably won't be out until 2020 or something, but
yeah,
TV show though, strange, isn't it? It's like it would probably be a good film.
I would have. The thing is, though, if you do a film, there'd probably be that thing of like, let's do some CGI, let's really push it, let's do. Whereas if you do a TV show, you can make it like, isn't there a Stephen King TV show on right now?
Is that?
That's like set like in, doesn't he always set everything in the same town or the same state?
He's got little things like that in
Castle Rock.
Right.
It's in Castle Rock, and it's like the story about these people's lives, but like there's like things about like the It is in there, and there's things about like the local prisoners,
just Shawshank. Easter egg kind of thing.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, I did hear about this.
I think it's only been going for about 10 episodes.
What's that on?
I do not know.
Oh my, what's that?
But I don't know, it does sound promising as long as they don't turn into like a kind of supernatural kind of like, you know, different monster
CW.
every episode kind of.
Super sexy Alan Wake.
No, exactly. Well, that's what I mean. But they could easily do that. You can't sit here and say that's definitely not what they're going to do, because they could ruin it in that way.
The game's not even. Well, he's a reporter, isn't he?
You know what I mean? Though, like a different subject every time, and they could ruin it like that. I'd like to see a linear story that goes throughout the whole thing, and not just
Castle Rock is on Hulu in the US, and it hasn't been picked up in the UK yet. But most Hulu shows are picked up by Channel 4.
Okay, cool. That's good.
I got another one.
Oh,
It's not really film or TV related, but it's games-ish.
please do.
There's a concert on in London.
Oh, is
Bethesda's doing one.
Oh,
An orchestra for loads of music from the Elder Scrolls and Fallout series.
I didn't say that.
Wicked.
I saw another one that was a festival that was just called a gaming music festival, but it was an orchestra,
Right.
But it wasn't specifically Bethesda. But that sounds.
I think they're only doing one show.
In London.
Probably. I think it's London.
Yeah, I wanted to go, not Tim Burton. I wanted to go and see Danny Elfman. He did like 3 shows, like 2 or 3 like Christmases ago. Like, and I'm talking like the 21st of December. And I was doing everything I could to like get the time off and get the money to work, but I just couldn't get it to work. And I was like, I'll never say that again. Like, he's not going to do that again. But I think John Carpenter's. He's on tour as well, isn't he?
Yes, got tickets.
Yep.
I saw Hans Zimmer as well. Blew me mind.
Yeah, because like everyone there must have got like ear bleeds and stuff like.
Made me cry.
Of course it did.
With emotion, not with the ear bleeding.
Oh, I see. Your eyes weren't bleeding like sheep.
Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't got any news myself.
You haven't got any concert news.
I've mainly been sitting in a pool in Spain, so I couldn't, I didn't hear that much about films.
Well, that is a shame. What's the hot news in Spain then?
It's hot.
Oh, that is hot news.
It's early 30s.
Early 30s.
Early 30s.
I love it. Well, okay, let's get into The Witcher 3 then.
Fog's thick as curdled milk.
Never took you for a poet.
Oh, but I am one. Want to hear a limerick?
Sure,
Lambert, what a prick.
not bad.
Right, so Witcher 3. We're not going to do a full story because we haven't finished it and you haven't played it.
I've played with half an
how
hour.
would you do a whole story?
Yeah, so I'll just do the setting. So, the game is set in The Continent, a fantasy world surrounded by parallel dimensions and extra-dimensional worlds. Humans, elves, dwarves, monsters, and other creatures coexist on the continent, but non-humans are often persecuted for their differences. The continent is caught up in a war between the Empire of Nilfgaard, led by Emperor Emir van Emry, who invaded the northern kingdoms, and Redania?
Beats me, mate.
Something like that.
And Redania, ruled by King Radovid V. Several locations appear in The Witcher 3, including multiple cities of Novigrad, Oxenfurt, No Man's Land of Velen, the city of Vizima, and the Skellig Islands, home to several Viking-like clans, as well as the Witcher stronghold of Kaer Morhen.
Who all speak Irish?
The main... Yeah, Vikings speak Irish.
Irish
Swing and a
Vikings.
miss. The main character is The Witcher, Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter trained since childhood in combat, tracking, and magic, and made stronger, faster, and resistant to toxins by mutagens. He is aided by his lover, the powerful sorceress Yennefer of Vengerberg,
Lower.
his former love interest, Triss Merigold, the bard Dandelion, the dwarf warrior Zoltan, and Geralt's Witcher mentor
Zoltan? We didn't even cast Zoltan, did we?
Vizimir.
Isn't
I think it's a bitch.
The guy who played Gimli, what's his name again?
John Rhys Davies.
Just get him again.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
It's not going to do any better.
Isn't Zoltan the cult leader of Dude, Where's My Car?
Certainly is.
It's the same guy.
It's the same guy. Wow, that's a hell of a crossover. And they said Infinity War was the biggest crossover.
Geralt is spurred into action by the reappearance of his and Yennefer's adopted daughter, Ciri. Ciri is a source born with innate and potentially vast magical abilities. After the apparent death of her parents, she was trained as a witcher while Yennefer taught her magic. She is unaware that the Emperor is her biological father. He sired her under...
I was unaware of that as well, so that's how it's ruined the game, isn't it?
Well, you found it out before, so...
I'm
double spoiled.
Never going to play it now.
He sired her under an assumed name while he was subject to a curse. Ciri disappeared years before to escape the Wild Hunt, a group of spectral warriors led by the King of the Wild Hunt, the elf Eredin, who was from a parallel dimension.
The Wild Hunt's great.
Well, that's the setting, so I'm sure the bit about Ciri, that must be in either another game or it's...
Maybe.
Early on and we missed it. I can't see them putting it like on the back of the game and being like, what?
Yeah. It's hard to remember all the bits of dialogue
very much, yeah.
when you spend most of your time playing Gwent for 5 hours and then going back to it and going, what happened here again?
I only played the game for, like I said, less than an hour, but I thought Gwent was incredibly boring.
You get into it, mate.
Really?
Once you build your deck. My God.
There's a strange thing about, you remember...
The first thing I do when I go to any town or village is play everybody at Gwent. It's true.
I think it was Final Fantasy VIII that started the card game.
Yes.
I did have a card queue.
And then Final Fantasy IX had one, and then I think did 10 have one?
Not sure.
I think it did. Unless
10 you just played them at Blitzball.
Blitzball, yeah, I was going to say, if everyone's too busy playing Blitzball to play cards.
I could never,
also great.
I loved 8. I could never quite work out 9s. 9s was always like, you have an attack of 50, a defense of 50, and you're attacking someone with a defense of 2, and I somehow lost, and I was like, no thank you, I'm out of here.
Too many numbers were done.
Yeah.
Just get back to the game, yeah?
I was just like, yeah, where's me monkey-tailed leader?
That's it, like Ciri's being chased all over by the Wild Hunt. In great peril, and I'm sitting in pubs playing cards.
Yeah, but you've got to play you've got to play all the main characters. I think you can play Dandelion at cards, and he's got a special card, and then you have to go to Zoltan, and he's got like the Geralt card, and Gwent. It's a good little game. I think they're releasing an app on the phone that's just Gwent.
Is it not already out?
It could be. I don't know. What am I, a doctor? Gwent doctor.
It sounds good. If it's a game that does work on its own, then they could easily do that in an app, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like a good idea.
I'd heard of it. I thought it was already out.
It could
but
be.
for some reason, haven't tried to download it.
Well, that's
I might do it right
that's
now.
strange.
Seriously, I'm going to do it right now.
It's like they get that thing in the right phone.
Sorry, guys.
Let us know if it's on there, and then I'll probably download it, play with you once, and then lose interest.
Gwent, card and deck helper. That's not it, is it?
That's not what you want. Okay, so Brett, you've never really played it.
Like I said, played it less than an hour. I met the beginning characters, and that's
because the start of it is you're running around learning the controls, and then you think you get attacked, don't you?
The start of it, I think we wake up in his house, and then you're teaching Ciri.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Which is really teaching yourself.
Yeah,
and that's it.
It's clever how they did that. Isn't it?
It is good.
It's very good.
I liked it.
And David Wood has heard a little bit from yourself and me, obviously. But what is it that makes it different to a lot of the other games? Because I feel like it's a very when you look at it, it kind of looks like it's a PC game, a massive multiplayer game, but it's not.
I guess because you get a lot of free roam games that are very similar these days.
Yeah.
Most games come out with a free roam now and then. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. But with The Witcher, as much as there's a lot that goes into the gameplay and the combat and all that, that's not the part that draws me in. It's the immersiveness of the world and the stories and the characters and how deep you can go into it. You know, you can spend hours on end doing a side mission that means absolutely nothing, but really talking to different characters and getting to know the characters. The dialogue's brilliant, the voice acting's brilliant, and get lost in like the side quests for hours on end and not feel like you're wasting your time. Getting a lot of gratification from actually being a Witcher and solving these kind of investigations is sometimes, like using your powers to follow tracks or prints or put together what actually happened. Sometimes you never even find you never even solve it, or you don't have a battle at the end. You just kind of figure out what's happened and get the information back, and it's like a little storytelling expedition.
Yeah, I feel like it was totally open, but it was also, it would give you a level of like, well, don't do this yet though.
Nudge you in the right direction, kind of thing.
I think the side quests give you barely any XP, so because I did loads of it. I did a lot of the main story for a while and got up to like say level 10 or whatever, and I did loads and loads of side quests, and I got nothing for it. I feel like it's the main story that drives your character forward, and they've kind of worked it out that way, and it's quite good. Like if you do too much of the main story, then do side quests. They are incredibly simple and boring. Like I don't think it explains that much to you. It doesn't spoon feed you that game. I don't think, even with the combat system, it gives you everything at the beginning. You got your 5 or 6 powers, and you can kind of approach it however you want. Really, I use a lot of the shield that because it takes your first hit for you, so I spend all of my magic power just putting that shield on.
Yeah.
But you've got the really kind of assault kind of powers where you can set people on fire or use telekinesis to blast them away. You've got one that you can mind control people, and another one where you create like a circle around you that slows down time. You can kind of tailor your character to however you like to fight. I'm quite defensive, so I'll do that shield thing. Yeah, like imagine Brett sticking it all in the flames and just setting everyone up with the light all the time.
It's sort of similar to Skyrim, because obviously Skyrim you can pick like what you want to focus on power wise. But the thing is that sometimes you would then come across like was it a wraith? In a wraith, you'd have to have the thing where you create the circle in order to turn it into whatever, so you could hit it. Yeah. But if you'd put all of your effort into fire, no matter what level you were dying.
All the reasons you mentioned before about it being kind of non-linear, going off and doing the other missions and like losing yourself, but that's the reason I've really got into Skyrim a lot. So I can imagine getting into this game pretty like.
There's a lot in the dialogue as well, because you choose these responses, kind of like a telltale thing. Yeah. So you can, I imagine it all goes to the same place, but you can genuinely do the missions however you want. Really, if you there's a lot of times where you get a choice of what you want to. How you want to deal with a certain subject.
That's the thing again. Going back
like Skyrim kill the werewolf or don't kill the werewolf.
Yeah, you can literally anyone in like I'm using Skyrim as an example. I'm assuming which is the same. If you want to kill someone, you can. You can kill literally anyone. It'll dramatically change the.
You definitely
the story.
can Skyrim, can't you?
Yeah, you can dramatically change everything. You can.
I'm not sure if you can do that with like.
I don't think you can do it with the main characters. Right. You can make a decision like to kill.
Can you kill people in the villages and that?
I think randoms. I think when he's in the village, he won't let you draw a sword. No, I think that's how it stops you.
Is it?
Yeah. But at the same time, you will come across people where it'll be like this person's stolen something. You can kill them and get the ransom, or you can just let them go and like tell them off. But then 6 hours later, they might return and be like, "Oh, you saved me. Here's 200 gold."
I remember doing a quest about a werewolf where he was kind of terrorising a little village. So you track him down, blah blah blah, and then you find out, you get his side of the story, the werewolf, because he talks to you, and he's a bit of, he's been a bit shafted, obviously been turned to a werewolf, being cursed and all this, but you get his side of it, and you can help him, or you can banish him, or you can kill him. It's the 3 choices you have, and if you go back to the village and tell him what you want, but I cut his head off, obviously.
Obviously,
yeah, but that's another thing as well. It's like you can do something to the enemy and then go back and tell them something else. Right. Be like, I killed that guy. I haven't. He's gonna be back tomorrow.
And there's always a little farmer who, I've lost my daughter. She's missing in the woods. And they've got nothing. He's eating potatoes, and I'm like, put that cash up, mate. How you can barter with him. I put it all the way to the top, and he's going, "Oh, Mr. Witcher." I'm like, "Oh wait a minute, fuck it up." Some guy asked to pay us in installments once. I was like, "I'm not laughing. I'm not coming back here 5 times."
They offer to pay in installments.
There's one guy did, I swear.
That is just unnecessary realism.
It's mental, isn't it?
Doing a credit check on
I
this
did
guy.
actually. I did.
You would never be there
I
when you
took
got
his
back.
installments, but I charged him more. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Interest, mate.
And then Dave just stabbed him through the chest and just took his gold.
So this is your last installment. Thank you. Slice.
Yeah. Do you remember there would always be some game like Skyrim, something like Skyrim, where something would happen and you'd get conned or whatever, and you'd just be like, "Well, I'm not supposed to kill this guy. I'm supposed to get conned by him, but I'm going to definitely kill him and raid his body."
Yeah. As they're walking away, and I'm going to see them again anyway. It's like he's destined to die here. Yeah. There's no way I'm letting him get away.
This guy's getting a crossbow to the back of the head.
And then he'll kill you almost to the brink. Yeah, you just get him.
I think the battle system in it doesn't always work great. You know, it's quite difficult at times. It's a bit blocky. It's not the most fun, really.
Yeah, I think it's I think it even tells you in the instructions at the beginning. It's like, don't fight more than like a handful of people, or you just won't win.
Yeah,
like I
you
think it even tells you to like
fight a pack of wolves is really odd.
Mm-hmm.
But you put your shield on, slow down your thingy, and then stand in the middle. It's great.
Right.
I upgraded the mind, basically the mind power. I can't remember what it was called. But where you could control them like you do in Shadow of War, when you can take them on your side for a bit. So if I was going into a den where they were a lot higher level than me, I'd just kind of sneak around in the bushes, turn one of them on my side, watch them just make chaos for a bit, then wipe them all out, and then just kill that one guy in a bit.
That sounds pretty fun. That's my speed.
I was gonna say, I'm more of I didn't do anything with the powers. I was just running and chop things up. And then eventually
I did for a while, but then you realise it just doesn't work. Man.
You've got to
be a bit more creative.
The minute you get to a boss, you're like, oh. Yeah. And the moment you come to a boss and your swords don't work, you're like, well, I guess I'm done then.
But then it tells you, when you're dying things, you've got little things in the loading screens that say, try doing this, try doing that. Mm-hmm. So then you end up making oils. You can make oils that are good at fighting different kind of beasts. So you can have a beast oil that's good against bears or wolves or whatever, and you put it on your sword. So you create it in the alchemy section. Nice. Put it on your sword, so they're good against wraiths.
I was wondering what you meant by make some oils. What are you going to do with oils?
Oil them, sell up.
Just chuck them in the eyes.
Geralt all lubed up.
All bodies covered in bear.
Come at me.
Bear repellent.
So you've got oils that are good at fighting different creatures, and put them on your sword. So you get 30 strikes and then the oil's finished or something. Then you've got your potions which do different things to you, like make them stronger or more defense or whatever. And then you've got different bombs which can affect different creatures in different ways. So even if you're struggling with something, if you just kind of take it back and go to the library and find a book about that monster, find out what he's...
Yeah. That's talking about realism, like having to go to the library and look up a receipe and go and pick little leaves.
That's the details like that I think are very...
That's the thing, is like good. If you can, like you say, if you fall into it and nothing else comes along on your radar, you're sorted for 3 months, 6 months. But if something else comes along, for me, I found it very difficult to get back in. I think I stopped for Hitman, and then I tried to get back into it.
Stopped.
And then I think I started playing South Park, and then it was about a month I hadn't played it for, and I just picked it up and I just did not know how to use it.
You go back in and you're terrible as well, aren't you? You got good at dodging and stuff, because he's got like a roll and a really kind of slick little dodge on you that you can dodge little strikes. It does feel good when you nail all that stuff. But then you go back in and you think, well, I'll be fine. Jump in with these wolves. Absolutely rumbled by a gang of squirrels or something.
But I think you can do that's the oils and the alchemy and all that stuff. That's what makes it feel very PC. You feel like there should be like a little mouse.
Thing is, it doesn't really tell you apart from those little hints in the loading screen. Like you would never really know.
Yeah,
it was a PC game before it was a console game.
Well, this was my next question, because obviously it was on PC originally. Have either of you played or even seen the first one or the second one? I feel like
I'd never heard of it, mate.
Exactly, neither have I.
No,
but I'm not a PC gamer at all.
I've seen a trailer of it, but this was after the third one even came out. I think it was like people looking back at it.
Oh, right.
Was this the one on the boat? Like fighting on a boat?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I saw that. It was quite good. I think it was the second one there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it at all.
But apart from that, no. I've only played this one on the PC, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. I haven't got it for a console. Joanne happened to have it on Steam on the PC.
She's a bigger gamer than you, Joanne. Should I have her on here, mate?
Much more, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think she wants to be honest. Yeah. She wanted to come on for Last of Us, but then we did it all of a sudden. I was like, oh, yeah, we've done that.
Quickly go over it. Did you guys cast for a TV show? A Netflix TV show?
The thing that's hard about it is the way Netflix are doing it with a TV show almost sounds perfect.
Yeah.
I think because of how immersive the world is, the potential's endless, really. So it works for a TV show. So
mine could be either.
I cast the level of like who I think you'd get for a TV show.
Mine could be either.
I didn't. I just kind of cast who I thought would be good.
That's fine.
Mine would be a TV show full of stars.
Well, I think I've cast for a film, I suppose.
Yeah.
A film.
A film.
A film.
So it could easily be a film, yeah.
But you can get them in for the TV show, I don't care. My choice.
All right, okay, let's get into some casting then.
Do what I want.
Hello, younglings. Got your own little carnival going, eh? Alcohol, my good men, is a witcher's worst enemy.
Right, so we'll start with the Blood Baron.
The Blood Baron's the first.
Is it the Blood Baron? Is he called Bloody Baron? The Bloody Baron.
Oh, I don't. Oh, sorry.
I think it is Bloody
Baron.
Is it Bloody Baron? Oh,
yeah.
I must have mistyped.
I wrote the Blood Baron as well. Technical, you're getting very technical already.
Oh, for sure.
I know me shit.
I'm
The
wondering.
Blood Baron was the first, like,
He's like the first like
but it was
quest.
it was the main quest that you had to go on to get him, wasn't it? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he moved off to his side, I think.
Yeah,
Because you find people in the main quest, but then they carry on as side quests as you move on. You can go back to see them.
So I think the main quest was some information, but in order to get information, you had to find his daughter.
Yeah, it was his daughter had gone.
And then as it went on, like the daughter was whatever.
His wife had died.
Yeah.
And there was a whole investigation with how she died.
Oh, that's right. And you investigated the wife, and I think you've kind of discovered that he was
Oh,
effectively...
no, she wasn't. She didn't die because she was taken by those mad witches.
But there was a thing about like that he was a bad man, so then you had to make a decision of like...
Did he beat her?
Something
And that's
like
the
that.
investigation because there was
Something
like
like that.
blood smeared on in his house and that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you had to find. You had to go. He basically came to you and said you need to find his daughter because she's gone missing, ran away, and his wife's missing as well.
Right.
Turns out they ran away because he was a bit of a bloody baron. You know what I
right,
mean?
okay.
Giving them the beatings and that.
The beatings and that.
Bloody Baron.
Yeah. But then you find his missus and she's like brainwashed by these weird mental three witches who are huge goblin type things.
Is that the one
And
where
you never taught to fight them because they're too powerful, so you never really.
But then you do end up having a fight with some sort of zombie-like creature outside of the little
You
tower
do,
he
it's
lives
not
in.
them though, is it?
No, I don't
It's
think
not
so.
them.
Very strange. I hope we're getting the police sirens on this.
Makes it sound dangerous. Like a dangerous place.
But then, like,
to New York City.
it's good though because his daughter, you find out, should run away and join this other weird faction, and she doesn't want anything to do with them, blah blah. But she comes across later on in loads because she's in Nilfgaard, that big town, big city almost, and she comes up in loads of different missions where you run into this faction. Later on, how the crossover is really quite good.
Cool. So
He has a very distinct look, so he's a big guy with a big beard.
yeah, well this is it, and like I say, I am going by looks completely on this one, but based on the looks, I've came up with 3 options.
Oof!
And the 3 options are
too
based
much,
on a question I've got. How old is he? Like, how active is he? Does he still
Do
fight?
you fight him at all? Do you have a little fist fight with him or something, or do you have a fist fight with his general or something?
No, I think you can punch him in the face. I think an option is to punch him in the face.
Is he meant to be like proper elderly?
No.
No. Right, okay. Well, in that case, my choice would be Mark Addy, who played Robert Baratheon.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'm in. Moving on.
The shouting.
I'm not shouting.
By the way,
Very good.
You don't have to shout if you're going to
I
get
didn't
too
realize I
close.
could do this. I'm going to do this all the time now.
my other option's going up in age. If he was really old, if he was older than he is,
But he's not.
it would have been Robbie Coltrane. If he was older than that again, it would have been Brian Blessed. So if he's not that
All
old,
good.
it's
All good.
Robert Baratheon would be the one, I think.
They could all work, to be fair.
I had Robbie Coltrane.
Aye, nice one.
Is that what you just said?
That was my second. It was
He's great. I didn't even
mid-age.
think about him. I went with Brendan Gleeson.
Oh yeah, he would
Oh
do
yeah,
it. Oh,
class. Yeah,
I love Brendan Gleeson.
awesome.
All good, fat angry men, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're not really angry, but they could do that.
Yeah.
And they're
All
definitely
good,
quite
fat,
fast.
wife-beaten, bearded gentlemen.
God.
Well, making assumptions about these people.
I mean, they could. I mean, they look like they could, potentially.
Yeah.
Not saying they do.
Brian Blessed is the oldest of them.
Yeah.
He's always looked
He's
like
got
a
big
white people.
hands.
I feel like Brian Blessed would be just, even when he plays it totally straight, he's just like hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think it would be difficult to be like I beat my wife. No. Take 2 on that one.
I'm the bloody Baron.
Do
No.
you know what? Just get Robbie in. Just get Robbie in.
Yeah, I love it. I think we should do that. That'd be legs.
Have you thought about going with a chiropractor first?
Chiropodist.
That's the one. I'll put my thumb in your knee. Probably pop it out.
Very good. Nailed it. Who
Awesome.
next?
Should we do the Regis next?
I didn't know this one. I had to look him up.
Yeah, I didn't remember him. But
Why did you put him on the list?
Well, he
then?
came up on the list of main characters, so I was just like, okay.
He's a vampire, right? Really old vampire.
Something like that, aye.
I haven't got that far.
I didn't know he was a
don't-
vampire, but it makes my choice even better.
I think he's like an ancient
hang
vampire.
on,
I'm assuming he comes across him in all the games, and that's why
Yeah.
he's the main character. But I've never seen him in Witcher, I don't think. 3. Sorry.
Because
But,
it was
yeah.
based on looks again, I had the option of 2.
Is one of them, before you even go for it, is one of them Charles Dance?
No.
Oh.
Although
just
he
just
did-
because he played a vampire, and I
It
just
does
thought,
look a bit like Charles Dance, but actually, it was Gary Oldman
He's definitely been a vampire.
Yeah.
And might be a vampire in real life.
Or if you wanted someone younger, Mark Strong.
Oh, I love Mark
I like
Strong.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
I like that choice. Why are you doing more than one choice?
Because I didn't know the people. I don't really know. If I seen them in motion or speaking, then I could give you a proper answer. But because I've only seen the way they look.
You've got to have faith in your decision. I mean, I've
Okay,
got two for Geralt. Like,
Oh, God.
Yeah, Gary
that
Oldman.
was really odd.
Gary Oldman is my choice.
Oh, very good.
Mark
I
Addy
like
and
that.
Gary Oldman. Thank you.
Perfect. I put Bill Nye.
He's definitely been. I think he was king of the vampires
He
in
kind of
Underworld,
looks
wasn't
decrepit and a bit decomposed
What
already.
was he the
doesn't
King
he?
of the Vampires in?
he? Underworld.
Was he?
Aye.
Oh, he was, wasn't he?
He's in all of. I think he's in all of Len Wiseman's films.
Ah.
Well, he'd be perfect then.
I went for the always creepy Richard E. Grant.
Yeah. yeah. Oh yeah, I
Good
like it.
shout. Good shout. He's creepy in the documentaries and stuff.
The way he just like slowly strokes the table. He's like, I like this hotel. Like, no, get out of there, guys. The camera crew is never seen again. And then we've got we'll go up to is it? I'm guessing it's Amir.
I had to look up this guy as well.
Yeah.
But
He's the king.
of what
Yeah.
though? Because is he the king of the?
He is.
Not the Nilfgaard.
Sorry, no, not the. No, he's not the king. He's the emperor
What of the whole of
of everything.
not Nilfgaard though, because that's
Nilf-
another guy in it.
Between the Empire of Nilfgaard, led by Emperor Emir van
Okay. Maybe
Var,
he is that
Var
one.
Emry. So yes, so it's the Emperor of Nilfgaard.
Well, I did put Charles Dance for this because he does the voice,
Yeah, I saw that in me.
and I thought, well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
He could be good.
Why not?
So
Perfect. Done.
I went for the classic. I went for a classic. Like any character other than the main characters are going to be British because that's classic fantasy.
Yeah.
So I fell into that little trap. But for the Emperor, I went for Hugh Laurie.
Oh.
Hugh Laurie.
It's a definite change of direction for him,
Just-
but he can do anything, Hugh Laurie. So
Yeah, and he was great in that. Was it called The Night Manager? Wasn't he like a drug
Yes,
dealer, The Night Manager? Or
Is
something?
he?
Yeah. I'm sure he got like an Emmy for that. Again, I'm trying to think like TV level. Like get him in, he'll do a couple of episodes, or maybe he does. Maybe he's in every episode, but only a little bit. He's done like so. That's what I'm working on.
well, I went for Gabriel Byrne.
Who's that?
He was in Gabriel Byrne. Man, he's in loads of things.
He was in End of Days. He was the devil.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Stigmata as well?
Stigmata. That's the one I was trying to think of. He was in the Vikings series. He was like the.
Oh no! Isn't he the dad in Hereditary?
Yes, that's why I thought of him.
But your first thought was Stigmata.
Stigmata, absolutely. Yeah. The whole time I was watching the radio, I was thinking he was in
still lost.
Stigmata.
Isn't he also the priest in the Omen remake as well?
I think he is. Yeah.
He's He's like a
You will know him
Is he
if you
in
see him.
Miller's Crossing?
yeah,
that the guy
I
I'm
think
thinking
that's
of?
him. Yes,
Right. Yeah.
He's like
I am there.
He's one of those actors who it's like everyone knows the name.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the name and knows the face, but doesn't put them together.
The reason I thought of him was because I watched Hereditary, and also because he was in Vikings as like the top Viking guy. At first, he was like the leader. I don't want to. I mean, I don't know. I think I can spell Vikings since we're not even talking about Vikings.
Is it the first series?
The first series.
Then for sure.
The very
Yeah,
first
he
series.
was the one. He got killed in the first
Before-
series. He was the leader of that clan
Was that him?
until he got killed. Yeah,
God, that was so long ago.
I only watched it.
The Vikings, I mean.
That's right. The Irish Vikings.
There he is as a Viking.
Yeah. It's a good show, that.
Yeah, it was good.
Who's next then? We've got his crew now, haven't we, really?
So Dandelion is one of the main people then, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently so. Apparently he's big in the books. So I was thinking. I think he was quite young, but I've picked an older actor. But I just thought it was kind of would be quite a good fit for like a again British, but like posh high society, but is actually like a bit of a.
Is it like a naughty 40 in here?
Yeah.
He's a mischievous, womanizing alcoholic, I think.
Which is pretty much why I picked Hugh Grant.
He's pretty old now, though, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. I went much older, so it would be like from an old acquaintance rather than like some young upstart. But I think you would probably go younger. But I just think like in Paddington 2, he pretty much played like that character.
Yeah.
Except for obviously the
Just put a funny little costume on him.
Yeah, just put a little
board
pair of
costume.
tights.
Stripy tights.
Mine was a young guy. I think the looks goes well with this guy. Again, I'm just going by looks again.
Of course.
And I did read about the whole womanizing kind of side of him as well. Surprisingly, he was British. Actually, at first I thought he was American. Did like Kick-Ass and stuff. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
He hasn't done many comedies, though, has he?
No.
I feel like he.
Comedies.
Yeah. I feel like Aaron Taylor Johnson was like, he did Kick-Ass, and everyone was talking about how amazing he was going to be. And then
What else he's done? He's done like minor parts and like.
Then he did Godzilla.
Yeah.
And he was the worst thing about it.
Yeah.
And then he did Avengers 2.
Yeah.
And he was probably, the second, third worst thing about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
Let's not forget Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging.
Oh yes, he was I think he wasn't even the main boy in that. He was the boy that she wanted to be with.
How
Not
does he
even
know?
the main
How does
boy.
he know this? Like,
And it wasn't. It was called Angus. What was it called?
Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging.
It was called Perfect Snogging, but the book is called Full Frontal Snogging because in the law it says if you put the words full frontal in the title, it has to be rated X in the UK.
Really? Full frontal doesn't even necessarily mean that though. That's pretty mad.
But it's written in the the Ofcom, something like that. It's written in the law.
Crazy.
Idiots.
Yeah, he was also
I'm gonna have to cut that out.
he's also in Nocturnal Animals.
Is that Amy Adams?
Yes.
And
He was one of the main characters
and
in
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes. Yeah. And Aaron Taylor Johnson.
And Amy Adams.
Well, I saw this guy as the comic relief, so I cast Jack Black,
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
he's not in enough things. I love Jack Black.
and you could do that.
I thought he was meant to be like a little pretty boy kind of character though.
What are you trying to say about Jack Black?
He's not a little pretty boy kind of character in the slightest.
I feel like
Well, that could be funny as well, couldn't it? If he's a womanizer,
yeah, I feel like
it could
he
all
would-
be at the risk of offending people. So I'm going to stop.
I feel like he would think he was like a great womanizer,
Yeah.
and he thinks
There you
he's
go.
a great thief, but he's just a joke.
But he's just more of the alcoholic side.
But he still gets the job done, and that's why people like lower their standards around him because they're like, oh, this guy's there's no way this guy's actually a real person.
Plus, I think if you put a fat lad in that costume, it would be really funny. Like.
Can you imagine the uproar that you're casting Jack Black in the Dandelion role
That
as
would
well?
be great.
Well, he's a bard. He could play. You play a little song.
I saw him as.
Yeah.
I
On his
saw him
white,
as
I suppose. There's not going to be that much
Well,
anger
exactly.
about it.
Thank God he's white.
a bit of an annoying character in the game, I thought, so make him a bit funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Sweet.
Like I say, I didn't really care for him. To sort of find out that he's actually like a main character is quite.
He's missing for the entire time he's mentioned. He had this stupid name Dandelion for him. Like, well, who is this guy? Do I need him? Like,
He must have been in like 1 and 2 or something. He must have been.
yeah, it must have been.
I should call him Dan. The show
Dan.
Dan. Sure.
Dan.
The couple they call him. Everyone calls him Dandelion.
He's a bloody idiot.
Right, so should we do Triss? Let's get a lady up in this piece.
Just as a ex-lover issue.
That's right.
A lady, eh?
A lady.
Oh.
A warrior lady.
Is she a warrior? I thought she was like another witch type.
I don't think she's a witcher.
No, a witch.
Geralt's.
Oh, she might be a witch type. It just says all I've got is former love interest because
Is she not part of the revolution in Nilfgaard against the government? Something like that.
that rings a bell.
Something like that.
Well,
So
all I
That
knew
kind of
about
type.
him-
Like a
saying-
hippy dippy type.
So are we saying she's got magical powers?
Aye.
Probably. All I knew about that is that it's Geralt's fiery ex.
Oh, fiery.
yeah.
That's because she's got red hair.
That's the one.
That's
I
again
cast a red hair.
stereotyping.
I cast a redhead.
I did also.
Did you?
Mhm.
Aren't we good?
Yeah.
I cast someone who currently has red hair but isn't a natural redhead, I believe.
Still works.
I'm sorry, Bob. Sorry, guys. David, who did you cast? Oh boy.
Amy Adams.
Really?
You've been done.
What do you mean, really?
No, I meant because we were just talking about ADMs like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, were we?
That's what that was.
I'm not so sure. I think it was a sick burn.
That wasn't what that was meant to be at all.
That's really putting an onion in the ointment.
Listen, if that's how you think the reaction was, then that's on your part.
It was his reaction to your
I
reaction.
can't help but
that
get
probably
wrong.
did it.
I mean, I can't help but get dumb.
No, I think should be great. Well done.
Has Amy Adams ever been in an action role though? Again, I'm just thinking because
She's not really an action role though, Tris.
I guess that's true because you just said she was
Part of the like.
I thought she was more of a warrior.
The investigation-y kind of storyline.
That's fine. I
And
thought
then Geralt protects her for a bit. I think she might do a bit of magic.
an investigator like Lois Lane.
There you go, mate.
There you go.
Oh.
Henry Cavill. It always comes back to Henry.
Back to that guy.
Hey, well, he would be in The Witcher as well. Oh.
Ah.
Not my Witch, I wouldn't, mate.
Jeremy Irons is going to end up in this piece in Ben Affleck.
I'd rather play the Witcher than let him do it.
So,
Who, Jeremy Irons?
Jeremy,
Oh, he's frozen. He's had a spell put on him.
I'm really confused now. Are you talking about Superman now? Jeremy Irons is Superman.
I don't know where he's gone.
Oh, I would like to see that.
I went for Jessica Chastain.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you bitch!
That should be good.
That's funny. Yeah, that was
She's got red hair, too.
funny. I went for
Dan, what was yours then?
I went for the non-redhead, but currently has red hair, Amber Heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Non-red hair.
At least she's been in action films already.
I didn't even hear what you said. I just was ready to say really.
Amber Heard.
Say it
Amber
again.
Heard.
Amber Heard.
Johnny Depp's ex.
Yep. Which is the core lead
Well done, Brett.
in Aquaman.
I was waiting for your action, mate. Eagerly expectant.
So that's that.
Nice one.
Stop giggling, man.
Shall we do Vesemir?
There's a
I like my Vesemir.
Yes.
Well,
I've actually
let's
got,
hear it then.
I've got two again.
Brian Cox!
Why are you shouting? We're trying to do like a, you know, I'm gonna like people are gonna listen to this and be like, oh, I wonder if these three we should have them on. You're like
what?
Brian
anything?
Brian Cox.
Oh my god.
I'm further away from the mic now and I'm aware of it.
You don't need to worry about it. I'm watching.
Just get closer.
What do you mean you're watching?
I'm watching.
You're not doing anything to that sound.
Let me just. It's fine.
Well, what do you think, Brian Cox?
Brian, yeah, good show. No,
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have.
Good shout.
I wouldn't have said it was like.
now my ears have stopped stinging. I can answer you like.
I think he's a good actor. I don't think he'd be good for that role.
Why not?
Well,
He's just like old man mentor.
yeah, but he.
I think he was meant to be like a good warrior in the past, though, wasn't he?
And Brian Cox played Agamemnon in Troy.
I believe
What was that noise?
I believe the most he did in Troy was get in a carriage while someone else just drove him
I
around.
did watch a movie called Ironclad, which was pretty terrible. But
Oh.
someone severed him up and then flipped him out of a catapult. Did you see that?
Wow.
That was absolutely mental. They like cut both his arms and his legs off and then used the catapult to fling him at a wall.
And the funny thing
Poor
about
Brian
Ironclad,
Cox.
Professor Brian Cox.
no,
Yeah. That one?
Funny, that's something I'd like to see.
and Ironclad was directed by a guy actually called Johnny English.
Oh,
How about that?
is that where they got the name?
That's right. Even though Johnny English came out 10 years before, and Ironclad. But my favourite bit about Ironclad is the
Aye, but
bit.
Johnny English was still alive then, mate.
Yeah,
He
you
didn't
would have
direct
had the
Ironclad.
name.
Johnny English is a fictional character.
Yeah, but not the director, mate. Maybe he was in MI5 before.
Oh, so hang on. Are you saying that Rowan Atkinson, the the character,
Stole
come
the
out
name.
of the TV and was like, "I'm going to direct Ironclad"?
It's like the worst Ring rip-off ever.
Mr. Bean coming at you.
Gangliers out like legs.
Either way, it's a good name.
Teddy. No, the best bit.
What's happened? What's going on?
I don't know. I think that we've got the.
Are we still talking about The Witcher?
I think we've got the fever.
What have you put in these drinks?
Brian Cox then?
Well, playing Brian Cox, I've picked. I went quite obvious Ray Winston.
Oh.
Because he can. I'd probably put a.
Cockney Witcher.
I could definitely. Yeah, I told you I've cast English.
Yeah, but he's not English, he's Cockney.
You're an idiot.
I've got two for mine.
Of course he has.
Neither are English, actually.
Oh, watch out.
Liam Neeson, an Irishman,
Could be good.
or Jeff Bridges. Probably Liam.
I like Liam Neeson.
I'll probably
as
go
a
with Liam
mentor
Neeson.
type.
Yeah.
I wish you'd said Jeff Goldblum.
Slash.
Should we give him
Jeff
a belly?
Oh yeah. You got it.
Vesemir has got a bit of a beard gut, hasn't he?
That's the thing. I don't think.
Big lad.
Like Liam Neeson would have to put him in like in a fat suit.
Goldblum. Yeah. I think you would have been Jeff Bridges as well, actually, wouldn't
He's got to be putting it on now, isn't he? He's ancient.
I think he's over 60s, but I bet that's the thing. That's the kind of role that he'd probably be like, yeah, that sounds like a good laugh. I'll do that.
No, he doesn't have too much of a part in it, really.
No,
he joins him at the beginning, then he just.
I feel like he does a lot of he turns up and says a lot of things, and then goes like, "Well, you go off on your quest, and I'm just going to sit here and drink a bit.
I'm going to play Gwent in the pub."
That was my last one that I've got 2 for, by the way.
Is it?
And I'm going with Liam Neeson. So
I like it.
thank you.
All right, Siri.
Much better than Ray Winston.
Much better than
Don't start on Brian
Brian
Cox,
Cox.
mate, Bryce.
I
I don't even think Brian Cox can walk. You've got him swinging battle
Well,
axes.
we'll just
He's
do
like a
him sitting down and
mathematician or
everything.
something.
Wait a minute, so he's just going to be like, on guard from his seat.
What's next?
Siri. The cause of all the controversy.
So
Well, I'm not going first
I'm
again.
guessing that we did Siri as in adult Siri, yeah?
Yeah.
Not child Siri.
No.
Because I don't know that many
She's still young, though.
child actresses. Yeah, she's young.
Yeah, but she's not a child.
No.
Clear that up.
I've used
internet.
I used this last for the same reason. I've used her before in the past. I think I used her in Tekken. It's because she's really young still, and she's got a fight in Evan Rachel Wood.
Mm-hmm.
She has martial arts background, but she hasn't really used it up until now. So
I have embraced the casting of a minority, and I went for Alexandra Shipp, who played Storm in the new X-Men films, in the 90s version.
very commendable, mate.
Thank you very much. Again, just another young black actress who's done action films before, and I was just like, I'm going to embrace the idea of doing it something
Good shout.
different.
I wish I'd thought of that.
Dave's quickly like, don't say Halle Berry. Don't say Halle Berry.
I was about to say Halle Berry. Sure, laugh. I cast Cara Delevingne.
Ooh, that is some side.
Because she's got a very mysterious kind of look to her.
Yes.
You're almost
strange.
doing the movement you did in
Supernaturally.
Suicide Squad.
But I think she's a very mystical character, isn't she? She's got powers, she's a witcher. And Cara Delevingne has that look quite well, and she's the right age.
Good shout, man. I think that'll definitely work.
Yeah. Me too.
Yennefer.
Yennefer.
I'm going to presume that she's going to be the second lead in the upcoming TV show.
Probably.
So I went for the one. This was the one I was like, oh, I'll get an actual. She probably has done. Oh, she definitely has done TV. Eva Green.
Eva Green, that's good. That's really good.
Also went for Eva Green.
Yeah.
She played a witch in something, a TV show.
She was
with Josh
Penny
Hartnett?
Penny
Penny Dreadful.
Yeah. Which was actually pretty good. I quite enjoyed Penny Dreadful.
I think I watched the first series.
Yeah. Same.
I know she did. I know her whole thing was that she was definitely like sacrificing things, and then like spiders would crawl out the wall and stuff. It was good. It was just, as I've said a million times before, I've really struggled to watch TV.
Yeah.
I much prefer that 2-hour film in and out.
Right.
She was a bit creepy as well, isn't she? Eva Green.
I think she definitely can be. Oh yeah. Isn't she in that Tim Burton film as well? Like The Home for Peculiar Children or something.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I think she's in that as well.
I cast Liv Tyler.
Ooh, that is
Going down the
same
more
look, same
sexy
idea.
route, I suppose. Sexy witch route. Well, she is, isn't she? She's on-off lover.
If she can take after her dad at all, then she'll look very scary.
Yeah, I feel like I should have cast Steve Tyler in this somewhere. That would have been wicked.
As Yennefer.
Right, Geralt.
I found this very odd.
I had a guy who I've thought of since the very beginning should be playing it, and then I also picked another like TV level guy who is another guy who I
want
like.
big.
Yeah,
You have to, don't you?
you've got it for the main one. I would have said so. So I'll give you mine. So if you were doing the budget version, I would go for that Anson Mount who was on Hell on Wheels. Main guy in that. I know he hasn't done much outside of that, and what he has done hasn't really been that successful. But I just thought he had like the right look.
His name popped up a lot as well when I was looking through this.
But that's like that's the budget one.
Yeah.
And obviously, as I say, for the main character, you're not going to go budget. You're going to go big. And it's got to be Mads Mikkelsen.
Ah,
I know. I didn't want to put him because he's being rumoured, but he'd be great, wouldn't he?
It's just so good.
I've also went for Mads Mikkelsen as well. So we have both went for the same Yennefer and Geralt. Same.
I think Mads and Eva
duo.
Green. Mads and Eva
I'd
Green
love
are a
Mads to
good
do it,
match.
but I didn't want to put it in because
Yeah, I know. It's because you want to be like, you could go for Idris Elba. You could go for. I mean, you could put Hugh Jackman in the role. I mean, to be honest, you could go for really. You can put anyone you want in.
Tom Hanks.
Not Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks.
But again, would you watch it?
Oh, I'd be the first one. There.
He's too likeable, man. And
I get multiple Netflix plans.
I just went with the white hair, beard,
this coming up.
yellow eyes, and that. Look absolutely great.
Definitely would be like have no like sexual interest in Yennefer whatsoever. Tom Hanks, he should do more stuff.
Yeah. I don't know why he doesn't, man.
I wonder what he's up to right now. What was the last thing he did? Sully.
He's probably doing something charitable.
No, Post.
You know?
The Post.
Oh, the Post, yeah. He's doing Toy Story 4, but that's not really work, is it?
Well, I went with Michael Fassbender
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's one you don't see very often.
because I think he's brilliant. He's a really good actor, and I was watching Macbeth the other day, and it's
Oh, yeah.
when he does that like dark side of the world quite well.
That's what I thought. If you were going to do like a $30 million version of The Witcher, that's who you'd get, like Michael Fassbender, that director, Marion Cotillard. She would do well as Yennefer. Like that was.
Yeah.
I thought that's
I didn't
what
think
they were
about
going
it,
to
but
do.
I thought I didn't want to just go, well, I cast everyone from Macbeth because I watched it the other day. But didn't he do the Assassin's Creed
He
movie?
did the
after that?
Assassin's Creed movie as well.
Is it good, that?
It's boring, man.
Is it?
From what I
Yeah. It's one
I'd
of
like
those
to watch
ones,
it,
Assassin's Creed is of course on the list to do. Multiple different ones, but the big problem with the Assassin's Creed movie was that they seemed to be terrified to actually go do stuff back in time. They were desperate to keep it modern day for some
Were
reason.
they?
When it's such a small part of the game, they made it such a big part of the
I
film.
think he went back in time
no.
3 times, and in some total it was like 30 minutes. There
Really?
there
That's
was like 50
really
minutes of him like
surprising.
getting caught and whatnot. Then there was the explanation of what the animus is.
That's disappointing.
Then he went back in time once and he was trying to learn what the hell am I doing. And then he went back in time, but they tried to do something different where they were like, he kept getting haunted and attacked by ghosts from the Animus. But again, that's not Assassin's Creed.
No.
I don't really care that you're actually going back in time. Like, you can do that if you want, and that's fine. You're making it Assassin's Creed, otherwise it's just something set in the past. But I would rather that it was a story about a guy who's like hopping in and out of the Animus, going into different time periods, trying to get information.
The worst bit about the games is when you come out of the Animus.
Yeah.
And they've looked at it and thought it was the best bit and made
They
a
were
film
totally
about
setting
that.
it up for like the end for him to like all of a sudden remember everything that whoever his character was, because his character's not even from the games; it's from the Spanish Civil War or something like that. So they were setting it up so that their memories would merge, and then he would be able to escape using all the skills he learned from being this person in the past.
So
Well, that happens in the game.
kind of
Yeah,
what
it's
you
like-
expect to see is kind of like a more action-packed Quantum Leap, that kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
or like Time Splitters.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought it would be like. I thought they would stick to one storyline that would be like predominantly set in the past, and they would pull them out every so often and ask them questions and send them back in. Like
I'd be happy if they didn't do any of the Animus stuff and they just did it as different descendants,
oh yeah, exactly.
different films from different eras,
That's the thing for me.
just all in the past.
Yeah, that
about
would be good as
about
well.
the assassins kind of storyline.
Yeah, so I feel like what they did
Throughout time.
is the
Yeah,
worst thing they could have done. They focused on the part that nobody really cares
Yeah,
about that much.
totally.
The focus on the cheap bit, which is our world.
Yeah.
And it's sad that because potentially with that director and Fassbender it
Yeah.
could have been amazing.
Because Fassbender was also a producer on it, so it's like you like. I know it's a way of getting like more money for an actor, but at the same time, it's like, why would you not? Why would you like be like, I want to have more involvement in this, and then be like, let's do less stuff that's assassiny.
But maybe he played the game and thought that was the least exciting bit.
Well,
Or maybe he didn't play the game at all.
I'm 100% sure I read that he was like he signed on to do it before he played the game, and then he played the game, and then he was like, that's all right.
He played the intro where you get in the Animus. Like, oh, that was
Yeah,
good,
he
isn't it?
played,
Oh,
he
wow.
was,
So this is what it's about.
only played as Desmond. Back in time stuff confused him.
Stupid Desmond.
But yeah, I agree. What should be happening? It should be going in and out of time, picking up clues. Like, how amazing would it be if there was like, if you had like a big like chase sequence or whatever in like whatever through Venice, and then you come out for 5 minutes. He explains what he's learned, and they're like, "Oh, hang on, we've got another memory coming up." Boom, and they throw him back in, and he's a pirate, and he's in the middle of like a ship being attack.
That's exactly what I was expecting to see.
And then you pull him out
so
again.
he jumps through the different kind of characters from the game.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see as well. Like, like the contrast between the different ones. You know, the fact you've just been in like in ancient Italy, and then like you say, you're a pirate,
and each time the character's got Michael Fassbender's face, but he's playing obviously some.
Yeah.
And just do that. I don't see why that's so good. Like,
It'll be harder to get clues through narrative purposes if he's jumping in and out of a different era for
No, I think
5 minutes at a time.
You would have to pick something
because
specific.
you'd have to have characters, wouldn't you?
you'd have to have a main one. I think
You would do like
one you'd stay in for a while,
like American Civil War / the pirating years, and you would have to like pick like that, like a certain span of time. But then you could it leaves you open to everything. You could do, by God, you could do the Old West, but then you could also do ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
So there's loads of things they could do. It's just all of that is money. That
you
costs
could also
money.
do this. You could have done like mainly focused on Italy for the first one, and then the Middle East for the second film. They could have made sequels, but the way they've done it, it doesn't really leave it that open. I don't know if they plan to do a sequel or not, but I don't know how many people want to see it either.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because if you put 80 million into a film and it only makes 50, well then if you're going to do a second one, you've got to aim for an audience that's probably only going to be 40.
Yeah,
which means your budget needs to be 20.
Yeah,
and then you can't do any CGI stuff. So what's the point? Then you recast Michael Fassbender as the same character, but he's got all the skills and he's just running. It's just a parkour film around London. Nobody wants that.
He's not going to come back.
I mean, that wouldn't be bad if it was, if that's what the film was meant to be. Yeah. I'd got to see.
It'd be like that film. Didn't Joseph Gordon-Levitt do a film where he was like a bike messenger or something? But it was like filmed like Matrix style, but he was just pedaling a bike. Terrible.
Can't say I've seen it.
And you should not.
I also had another one
please.
because I didn't know whether I was happy with it. I mean, it sounds like you are, but I also thought about Viggo Mortensen as well.
Yes, 100%
for Maragorn.
Totally.
Yeah. He could nail it, couldn't he?
Yeah,
definitely.
The one thing about Viggo Mortensen is, I think, again, taking like a outside knowledge, I think he would probably say no to it. He'd be like, "I've already played this character."
Yeah,
but he is the best. Well, for me, he's the best thing about those Lord of the Rings films. I think his art is the best.
Man crush on him when I watched that.
Because I'd never read the books, I didn't know anything about it. The first one I watched was the second one. So when I found out that he was like the king or the king elect or whatever he was, I was just like, what is this? I was like, but obviously, like, if you read the book, you're like, I'm waiting for this to happen.
Yeah.
It was.
I hadn't read them when I watched the film. Yeah. I was into films and then I read the books.
I thought it was amazing.
No, it's great Viggo Mortensen. He is the best thing about the film, and it's even when you hear about the trivia after the film, you like him more and more. Yeah. The whole thing when he broke his foot and stuff like that. It's like,
oh yeah, so that
they used that take, and just the fact that he used that and used that made that scene so much better. It's great.
I love little stories like that. Yeah.
And it's so interesting that he wasn't even cast. It was like the week before they started shooting.
No way.
Yeah, it was the guy who, this is again useless knowledge, but in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the guy who plays the guy with the painting, Dorian Gray.
Oh yeah,
right.
And he was also in The Queen of the Damned,
I can't picture
which was a very low rate like horror film, but it was like a sequel to Interview with a Vampire. But they couldn't get Tom Cruise back, so they cast Stuart Townsend.
Right.
Who was just like a nobody TV level actor, and like the week before shooting on Fellowship, he went, "Oh, you're not good enough," and just pulled Viggo Mortensen in. And he's like, "You've got a week to prepare." He has like 3 full film scripts.
Absolutely nailed it.
He nailed it. Yeah, a lot better than this guy obviously sounds.
So it was like it was going to be Orlando Bloom, John Rhys Davies, Stuart Townsend.
God, I'm so glad they changed it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But obviously,
he really did. I mean, I'm a massive Lord of the Rings movie fan, but he really is the centre of it as it goes on, and he.
Viggo Mortensen always brings like such a pathos to his every role he does. He's no matter what film it is, he's the best thing in it.
Yeah.
And if he's not in it, he's probably still the best thing in it.
I've seen a film with a man called Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, like
I really enjoyed it.
I think if it was anybody else who's the role, it might not have been the best film, but he just plays it so well.
And they celebrate Noam Chomsky Day, don't they? Noam Chomsky's birthday is their Christmas. And they'll get like knives and that. Bow and arrows to help hunt.
But Eastern Promises, he's amazing.
Yeah.
History of Violence.
The Road,
obviously, yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
He's got, is he? I don't think he's got an Oscar though, has he?
No, I don't think so.
That's shit.
A travesty.
Well, let's wrap it up. This is actually happening. like the other things we've actually done and talked about. This is happening right now. Someone's writing it. People are being cast in it. What do we think about... And I know you weren't here, so we'll probably get most from you because we've already kind of got Dave's opinion, which kind of goes from Henry Cavill's really boring / but I'll give him a chance to see if he's going to do good. Yeah. You know. Where do you stand on it? Because again, you don't have a link to, just to remind people, you don't have a link to The Witcher 3. No. So all you know is it's a fantasy world and Henry Cavill's in it.
Well, I'm going to build on top of what Dave said. I do think he's pretty boring. I will give him the chance, but also I just don't think he should have really been cast in it. I feel like he's only been cast in it because he's just come from like a big franchise. He's at the top of his fame, and that's the only reason why he's not being cast because he's good at what he does. It's just because he happens to be famous at the minute,
and it'll sell it.
Yeah, and that's it. I think he probably will be boring. He'll probably disappoint the biggest fans. I really think he will, but I'm happy to give him a chance.
Because I think it's
not gruff enough, is he?
Well, that's the thing.
He mysterious enough. He's very.
If he totally changes what he's doing, if he changes his voice, because you feel like he does, he has an American voice and he has his own voice, and they're the two you'll get.
Chiseled chin.
Whereas I feel like if he really like, because he says he's a fan of the video games and everything, and apparently he said he was a fan of the video games in that interview. And people were like, "Oh, that sparked it," but apparently he had a meeting like 4 months ago. Like he found out they were casting, and he was like, "I want this role."
Right.
He went after it. He was their first meeting, and they cast him.
Well, there you go. I mean, hearing stuff like that, it might be the project he feels a lot more about, and he might put himself into it. Yeah. He might surprise people. I'd like that to happen. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I hope he does surprise you, like Brett says. He could be really good, and it could be insane, but it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to get excited about him.
That's exactly it. It's like no one's queuing around the block to go and see the new.
What does the internet say about it, Dan?
I think a lot of people are actually quite excited.
Are they?
I think a lot of people do like his performance in the Superman films. I think they like him as Superman. I think a lot of people.
He suits that.
Well, that's it. He suits like the.
Exactly, because he's clean cut, which is
Boy Scout,
Geralt isn't.
Yeah, that's what he is. A Boy Scout.
Yeah.
And now he's going to play the ultimate, like
killing, fornicating,
pillager,
swearing, drinking, killing. Yeah.
And I know he was in the Tudors and whatever, but I don't think he was a main role in that. I think he was just bits and pieces. I do hope, not on the same level, but I do hope it's a bit of a Heath Ledger thing. I hope it's like. There's no way he's going to be able to. Oh wow, this is his role. Yeah. Like he should only ever play this character. But again, you just never know.
Exactly, yeah.
And worse,
Mads would come in and go, "Shut off, mate."
Yeah,
yeah.
The internet wants it.
Well, like on these days of like social media, things changing all the time. It's still early days.
So apparently it's coming out next year. So they'll have to start shooting soon.
2019.
Apparently so. I thought it was 2020. Apparently they put on Netflix it was 2019. Obviously that could get delayed, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with it.
I'm excited, regardless whether he's in it or not.
Oh yeah,
I'm still
of course.
excited.
I'll watch it, regardless of how excited I am. Again, I haven't played the game very much, so I'm going to play it. See how excited I get.
I think it's going to be one of those things where you're going to see a few trailers, and you're going to decide tentatively like this doesn't look good. I'm still going to watch it, or you'll be like, oh, this looks like they might have nailed it, but I'm not really sure. I just think sometimes something like this desperately needs a trailer. I need to hear him talk. I need to see him fight. Yeah. I need to see who's cast alongside him.
Absolutely. At the minute, it is very much up in the air, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is. But
you can only see him as Superman at the minute. That's the thing.
That's the thing. Well, the only roles he's played is he's played Superman. He's played the man from U.N.C.L.E. who was just a spy. And then he's played Mission Impossible where he was another spy with a mustache. So you know what I mean? His range isn't great.
I mean, he had a mustache, Dan, haven't
That's true. I mean, to be fair, anyone with a mustache just gets like 2 steps up for me.
Pass in my book.
I think you should get a Hollywood star of him.
The man with the mustache.
That's right, Mustacheman. Mustacheman.
The man from U.N.C.L.E. with the mustache.
That's it. So we'll see. It's good to hear. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Aye.
Brian Cox cast, and then absolutely. You'll be in.
Brian Cox.
Oh God, twice. And then we'll be back next week, hopefully. if we can get it to fit in your schedule.
Alright.
And we'll be doing Resident Evil
Oh, wait.
1.
Oh, that's exciting, isn't it?
That'll be nice. Radio, that's it. That's all for now. And we'll see you next time.
Ta-ta.
And Upton Park is a dump. Great.
Thank you for listening to Grand Pitch Thought So. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check out our other castings on games like The Last of Us, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or wherever it is you download your podcasts from. And feel free to get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at JPTSPod and on Facebook at Grand Pitch Thought So. This podcast is produced and edited by Dan Hewitt. Grand Pitch Thought So is not affiliated with the motion pictures or video games reviewed or mentioned in any of the episodes. All movie clips and music used in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders, and they are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.